White Forget Life Coaching, and welcome to another edition of Live Free. So one of the patterns that I see consistently for people who come in to see me for coaching, for guidance, right, is this feeling of being inadequate or not enough or broken or unworthy or something in that spectrum. I wanted to share with you just a few simple insights and tools to really understand and appreciate the difference between feeling something and being something. Because we live in two worlds. The first world is our spiritual world. And I don't sell religion. I believe in the freedom to believe in whomever or whatever you believe. But I do believe this, that there's at least a level of connectivity between human beings. Something intrinsic and spirit of this spirituality, of the spirit. Something that connects us all. And in that world, you are enough, right? You are loved. You are worthy of everything in this world. We are in complete abundance. I see it with my daughter, right? She's going to be 3. I know, 3, right? She's growing up way too fast. And she doesn't worry about judgment. She doesn't worry about what people think or what they might say. If she messes up, she just picks herself up and carries on. And I see that we come into this world absolutely abundant. No fear of scarcity, no fears of being unworthy. But then through the process of getting older, where there's a trauma or something happens, or maybe just going from the prince or princess in a family and then going to a classroom where there's tons of other princesses and princesses and fighting to find your way, that we begin to slowly in life adapt, change, alter, and we become less of who we really are. That's not a bad thing, and I'll explain why towards the end of this. I want to make sure that you keep on listening, right? But then we live in the human world, and the human world, we are conditioned from day one that we're not enough. We're conditioned that we have to do something to be significant. We have to achieve a certain grade to pass through, get a degree to be enough, have enough money, have enough this, have a house, have a car, look a certain way, feel a certain way. And all that is not necessarily bad or wrong. But it's a world of scarcity. Because the law of scarcity says, I need X to be or feel Y. So I need something in my life to feel enough, to be successful. Now the challenge with scarcity, that it is fear-based, which means I'm going to be fearful of not getting it, or that I'll be fearful if I get it, that I'll lose it, or be taken away, or I can't keep it. Now the conflict comes in that we are spiritual beings living in a human world. What that means is that we got to play by the house rules. Like if you carry a gun and in your state, open carry is permitted. And if you drive to another state where open carry is not permitted, you get out of the car, you go to get gas, the cop sees your sidearm. He's going to ask you a few questions. He's going to say, why are you carrying that gun? And you're going to say, it's legal in my state. And then he or she's going to say, but you're not in that state. So we are human beings, but spiritual in our essence, which means that we have to live by these house rules, the human rules. So I think very often we get confused because at times in our lives we feel like we're not enough, right? We feel like we're not worthy, or we feel inadequate. And the truth is we are. I know it's not the most positive message, but we are, right? You might be not enough to keep your child off drugs. You can do everything you possibly can. And if that child chooses to go down that path, right, they're going to do that. You could give everything you want into a sales proposal and give a perfect presentation and a great offer. And they still might say no to you. And in that instance, what you did wasn't enough. And those things hurt. Sometimes a little bit, sometimes a lot. But the difference is believing in the difference of feeling like you're not enough and being not enough. See, too often we take on that identity. We take on that mindset like, I am not enough. How do we know? We hear people saying it. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm unworthy. What's wrong with me? All those language patterns, it doesn't support who we are. It's okay to feel like you're not enough. Hey, it's okay to have a pity party. Even I sometimes have a pity party for my own self. But here's the truth. Ready? You can feel anything you want in life. We just can't stay there. We can be disappointed, we can hurt, we can be confused, we can be upset, we can be angry. As long as we don't do harm to ourselves or others, we can feel it. But the human conditioning is that we start to feel it, and then it starts to meet our emotional needs. I know it's not what you want, but it starts to meet emotional needs. In other words, it becomes more about the payoff than actually what upsets you. I had a client come into me one time and she was all upset, talking about how this guy rejected her and broke her heart and how terrible it was, and she was crying and cursing. I'm like, when did this happen? Expecting she said like, a week ago. It was 2 years ago. Now what's happening is she's running a pattern, and that pattern has nothing to do with that event and everything to do with her own desire to meet her emotional needs. It's not what she wants. But again, life's not about what we want, it's what we emotionally need. We will violate our own values to meet our own emotional needs. We'll go against who and what we are if we believe our needs are in conflict. So how do you overcome this? Number one, give yourself permission. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of denying this feeling, right? I don't feel this, I don't feel it. Bullcrap, you feel it, right? Feel it, right? But give yourself a time limit. I know it sounds kind of corny, but it's one of the best things I can tell you. Give yourself a time limit. Maybe say by the end of tonight, or when I go to bed, or when I wake up. Do not give those negative limiting patterns permission to stay with you indefinitely. It's like in-laws. I don't mind in-laws coming over. I just don't want them to stay, right? Stay for a couple of days. How many days you'll be here for? So I know when you're leaving. Number two, right? Understand by giving yourself permission that there's probably something in that feeling, in that emotion that is meant to serve you. Something that you need to pay attention to. Something you need to take action on. Something that you need to resolve, right? And don't stay stuck in your head. Get that information and then take that action. Because I often believe that negative emotions are a lot like dashboard lights on a car. When the check engine light comes on, we don't yell at it, we don't curse at it, and go, oh my God, why me, right? And especially we should not just keep driving with it on thinking, I'll just ignore it. What do? We pull into the auto mechanic, right, the pet boys, and get it looked at, get it fixed so we can get back on the road. So all negative emotions have some positive intention. But again, they're meant to be felt, understood, and then moved on. So spend some time, journal, right? Meditate on it. Go out in nature. Go out to a place that inspires you. Ground yourself. And begin asking yourself some questions like, how can this serve me, right? If your brain goes, it can. Well, if it could, how can it serve me? What is the message that's really trying to send to me? What must I take care of? What must I end? What must I begin? What must I change how I do something? Because in any situation, there's really only two things you can do. Change how you feel or change what you do. And we can change how we feel by changing the meaning we give events. Because meaning is everything. The meaning you give any event becomes the meaning. And very often our meaning is created by our subconscious programming. So we just give stuff meaning without understanding, is it really true? So we have to question the meaning to those things that don't serve us and maybe give it a new or empowering meaning. Or just change what we do, right? If something's not working, change it. Here's a great formula for success. If it's working, keep doing it. If it's not working, change it until it starts to work. Okay? Or it's a combination of two. So we change how we feel, change the meaning, and or change what we do. Usually that becomes a sweet spot. So understand, appreciate, and put a time limit on it. And understand it's okay. I'm probably one of the few coaches that says it's okay to feel those feelings because it's true. They're a gift. Whether it's from God or a higher power or nature or something. If we weren't supposed to feel them, we wouldn't have the capacity to feel them. But again, put a time limit on it. Don't let it stay forever, right? And once you hit that deadline, do something, right? If you're still stuck in it, go for a run, work out, put some music on, or better yet, service. Because I think when we start giving outside of ourselves, we start thinking of ourselves less. Not less than, but of ourselves less. And anytime you're stuck in one of those patterns where you can't get out of, I'm not calling you selfish, but it's a selfish pattern. In other words, you're focused on getting your needs met. It might be a low grade, like diving in a dumpster to eat, but it certainly meets emotional needs. So the best way to change that is step outside of that. Give yourself, and it doesn't mean go on Facebook, right, and start doing all this social impact, activism crap, because you know what, typing something on Facebook doesn't change anything. Give of your time. Give from your heart. Make that difference in someone else's life. Make someone else's problems bigger than your problems. And when you do that, you'll begin to transform. You'll shift from that being stuck in that human world and return to that more spiritual centered world. So until next time, this is Joe White from Get Life Coaching. Live free, everybody. Bye-bye.